Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom, your guide to extraordinary weddings and events. I'm your host, Ashley Miner, and we're here to share expert insights and inspiring stories. Let's dive into the art of creating unforgettable moments. Okay, Kaylee with Uplifted, thank you so much for being a guest on Pearls of Wisdom today. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm actually so excited. I've been waiting for the invitation and it's arrived.
Oh, I've been trying to have you on for a while.
Yes.
But we've been a little bit busy, so I'm glad you could make time for me today.
Yeah, same girl.
You're a busy girl. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to introduce yourself, what you do, why you do it, who you serve, all that fun stuff.
Okay, yeah. I am Kaylee, as you said, and I own Uplifted Salon here in Columbia. And we just recently, I've always worked in the bridal industry my whole career. I've been in the industry for about 14 years, but just in the past 2 years, we've gotten really heavily focused on building an actual bridal team that existed outside of just myself. So that has kind of launched into its own sub-business, which is Uplifted Bride. And yeah, I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids. I've got Henley. He is 7 and Brix is 4. That might be too much information for the internet, but we're just going to put it out there. My husband, Ryan, is great, and he helps me just run all this and do the thing. So,
dang. So 14 years ago, when you were getting your start, did you love weddings at that point?
No.
That's what I feel like a lot of hairdressers, hair professionals, what's the correct term? Salon
Cosmetologist is the technical term, but I think anything's fine.
I feel like a lot of girls are either, I love weddings or I freaking hate them. I'm never doing it.
Yes.
So when you started, were you like, I've always wanted to do weddings?
I think I always liked the idea of it. I think it's incredibly intimidating because this is someone's wedding day, even if they're not the bride. If you mess it up, you mess it up. And it's just it's fast paced. There's zero room for error. And so I think that's why people are like, oh, nope, too high stress. Just let me do foils all day.
Yeah.
But that could also be very high stress for a different personality. But I kind of got into it, not trying to get into it. It was just my first updo that I did was in cosmetology school. And then whenever I was at my first job, they were like, hey, so-and-so just called in sick today. Can you come in? You only need to do one updo. We just can't get this girl in there. And I'm like, I can do one updo for sure, as long as I can kind of be a little bit more in control of what she wants. And then I went in and ended up doing it. And it probably took me 3 hours to do it, but it ended up being fine. And then I guess kind of proved to my boss that I could do it. So then I just kept getting scheduled, and there was no real formal training or anything for me. It was just they keep putting this stuff on my schedule. I'm not really happy about it, but I am just I'm a grinder. That's what I do. So I'm
I'll
just figure it out. Right. And that's what I did. And then somehow I stuck with it. And now it's probably one of my most favorite parts of my job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel I think back to 14 years ago, and that was very much the time of 14 million bobby pins, updos, really tight updos. And now it's just a lot more organic.
Yeah. It's very soft and lived in. And yes.
So you started 14 years ago. You were obviously working for somebody else. How did you get Uplifted going, being your own boss, having a team, all of that?
Yeah, so I feel that was also another thing that was just never in the vision. I always get emotional when I talk about this, so disclaimer, if I do, I'll just
Kaylee's a crier, everybody.
I'm a huge crier. So I was maybe, I don't know, a few months postpartum, and I was working part-time, and then doing the mom thing part-time, and me and my husband were just ships in the night because we didn't want to pay for childcare. I would never give that parenting advice to anybody. It was miserable.
Right.
And so I was just super unfulfilled. And I was already a little bit unfulfilled at my current salon that I was at, even before having a baby, but it was just safe. And I'm a huge commitment and loyalty person. And so I'm just well, why would I quit? They gave me my first job and whatever. And so I was just
I'm not miserable. I could
Yeah, it's not
do
no one's punching me in the face every day. So this is fine, right?
Yeah.
And so I just kept rolling with it. And then I had her, was feeling super unfulfilled. And we kind of started looking around for spaces. It was just weird. And then it wasn't necessarily something that I was taking serious. And then the space that we're in now came about, like, it was right in front of my face the whole time. My father-in-law is actually my landlord.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, oh, no one used it. It was his storage closet.
Okay.
And I'm like, can I, like, and it just kind of all fell into place. And then it seemed like it worked out. And so I was honestly was like in a really bad place mentally whenever we decided to open a business. Again, not like the business plan that I would advise for somebody, but just like I have to do something. Either I'm gonna like quit my job and be a full stay-at-home mom, or I'm gonna really lose my mind and take this here. And that's what I did.
I feel like I don't know if you remember this, but the first time that we met was at a BNI meeting.
Yes.
And I feel like from that point, which was, I don't even know how long ago, 6-7 years ago, probably, to now, you are a wildly different person.
Yes.
At that meeting, at least, you were very quiet, reserved. Yeah, I have this salon.
Yeah.
It's Uplifted. And I was like, gosh, she's so cute. Like, I want to go there because she's so cute. And now I look at you and I'm like, you are not quiet. You are not reserved.
Right.
You are like a boss babe doing all the things and making it happen. And just to see that evolution of you and your career has been like really cool to watch just from like an outsider's perspective.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
You weren't even doing wedding planning at
I was
that
not.
time. I can't remember what you were doing.
We
but I
were
was
doing
like,
consulting for businesses.
yeah. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. But I think I literally had owned a business for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And my chiropractor was like, you need to come to this. So that was the first thing I'd ever been to like that ever. And I was like, to this day, you will not catch me at a BNI meeting.
No.
Because that was just so overwhelming to me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not my vibe. This is it. This is. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. So when did you guys make like a distinct shift from, okay, we're a salon that does everything, to we're really going to focus on this bridal side of the business and I'm going to start growing my team to do that?
Probably about 3 years ago is whenever I started to take it really seriously, because my son is 4. And whenever I was pregnant with him, we essentially didn't have a wedding season because he was born in August. So like spring, I'm like way big and way pregnant and like kind of scared to take too much on. And then the fall, I had like a newborn. And it was just a real bummer to see that not be able to like function without me being the person in charge of it all. And then also around that time, we changed our business structure up quite a bit. And I was just more in a position to be able to really train and like pour into our team. And then, yeah, I feel like we just kind of started hiring people and people would be like really passionate about makeup. And then this one would be really passionate about hair. So it was just almost like a natural evolution. And then in the last 2 years is whenever it's like, okay, this needs its own Instagram. This needs all this branding and everything. And it's just really skyrocketed since we've done those 2 things.
Yeah. So how many weddings do you guys try to take on in a year?
Like 20 to 30.
Yeah. Because then that allows you to only have one wedding a day versus trying to mix up your teams. But do you guys still do that a little bit?
We do. So we could do like 2 smaller groups. And I don't mind doing that. Honestly, that is a little bit of the preference over like just one big, massive, because there's a lot of people and a lot of energy in the room whenever it's that many. But we can do anything. I think my goal is to always be able to like serve as much as we possibly can. So there's no slowing down anytime soon for us.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how many people are on your team actually?
There is, I should know this off the top of my head, 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
And everyone does hair and everyone does makeup, or what does that split look like?
It's pretty much an even split. Everyone could do both, but we just try to place people in their strengths.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've kind of taken on like the makeup like head on. Like that's what you love.
And that was kind of like a total accident
Why?
of how that came about.
Well, tell me.
Well, so I had told you in my first salon, they kept scheduling updos with me. Well, then they started scheduling makeup with me. And I'm like, I don't know how to do makeup. And to be completely transparent, like I just have a naturally strong bone structure. So you don't have to be that good at makeup to get your bone structure to like pop in that way.
Right.
So it was just like I kept getting these makeup applications. And again, where I was like, okay, I've got to figure this out. And then I felt like that was never where I like fully thrived. But there was a stylist on our team last summer that was following another makeup artist. And she's like, I really want to do a one-on-one lesson with her, but I'm scared to go by myself. And so I was like, well, sure, I'll go. That sounds fun. And then that just like opened up my eyes to so much stuff and just like catapulted the ability to be able to make it super, super systematized and streamlined while still allowing them to be artists and create and do their own thing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that has been a really new and really fun thing.
Mm-hmm. So you guys kind of sell hair and makeup as a package bundle. Like you're getting us as your full beauty team. You don't need anyone outside of us.
Yep.
So kind of walk me through like what those packages or what that looks like when someone's booking with you.
Yeah. So we will do just your hair or just your makeup, but I think it's a huge draw for us to be able to do both. And I think it's also really amazing for the bride to just be like, for lack of better, I hate this term, but it's a one-stop shop, you know? So we call it a first date call. So you would get onto our website, you would just inquire. It's just like a quick form, like date, do you know your numbers? Do you know your end time? I think it does ask if you're working with a planner. So then from there, I would respond back and let you know if we have it open, if we don't have it open, and then based off of the information that you gave me, what that kind of looks like in terms of timeline, because that can be a factor for people too. If it's like, yeah, you're available, but now it's 2 weeks before the wedding and you're telling me we start at 4 a.m., no thanks.
Right.
So I like to just be super, super open about that. And then also at that time, they would have the ability to add on another stylist if that was the best option just for their timeline and their budget and stuff. And then after that, we get on, we do just like a quick little 15, just like this, like a little, just like hang out, get to know you, kind of work through your pain points. What are you thinking? And then at that point, I can match you best with the artist that to me seems to match your style the best. I think that's one of the biggest strengths in having a full team is that there's a diverse skill set. Like everybody can do everything, but everybody has a signature style. So I really try to hone in on that. And then from there, you're booked and you're ready to go. And then we don't really chat much until 3 months out. And then everything gets ready to roll. We have you come in, we do your preview, kind of boring stuff, but like we'll create a detailed timeline for you. We'll work directly with your planner if you're working with a planner so that you don't have to deal with that.
Yeah. One thing that you guys do really well as a salon and as a bridal team is, and this comes from how much pre-work you do from your first date call, the preview, like all these things, is you include a lot of like personal details.
Yes.
So kind of talk about those things that you like to throw in for your brides that just make them feel super, super special.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just a details girl. Like I live for the little things in life. I really do. Like when people are like, oh, I don't like getting flowers. I'm like, it's my most favorite thing. I don't care if they go to waste. It's a detail and I love it, you know? But the little details that I would say that we include are, I do ask a lot of things of, are you working with the wedding planner? Tell me about your fiance, things like that. And so we really try to just know those on a personal detail because I feel like super passionate that it's not that hard to do the hair and the makeup, but it is hard to make people feel really good. So we try really, really hard to make sure that everybody in our team knows you and loves you.
Well, and let me add, when you are this close to someone's face for an hour, you better know me.
And I have the worst like RBF. I should give this as a disclaimer for everyone. I'm like, okay, look this way. Okay, look this way, because I get like so honed in because I'm like, there's not going to be any unblended lines on your face if my name is on it.
Right.
So yeah, and you just want to, they're nervous. And I feel like if you're just more comfortable, that's a lot easier. And then as far as other little details, we now are able to offer hair accessories in the salon so you can play with those at your trial, which we call a preview, which I guess is like just another little detail that makes it feel a little bit more high end. So they can actually see those rather than just buying some like cheapy little thing off of Amazon. Same with, we now have the ability to get in custom clip-ins to color for your hair to match and give you that fullness that you need, which is really awesome. And then we always send out a gift. Either we might have it for you at your preview, or you might get it at Christmas, or you might get it just on your 1-year anniversary. It changes a little bit different every year. And then we send off everybody in your bridal party with a little gift bag too.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And I know like for your normal clients, you always have like custom cocktails or mocktails.
Yes, and you'll get all that at your preview too.
Which is so fun and just so thoughtful. And it like has your name written on it. And like,
Yeah. And like we try to pay attention if it's like, okay, Ashley just got a promotion at work. We would write like, congrats, babe, or, you know, whatever. Or if you come in every 6 weeks and I know you want an iced vanilla latte, I just have it ready for you. And most of the time, once you're in a lot, you stop filling out that form. So we just try to remember and make people feel super special.
I think that you must have a mind of a steel trap because you remember details because they're important to you and you remember details so well. Like we had coffee last summer, I think, or in the fall or something. And then like you asked me something months later and you were like, oh yeah, but it's because you're an Enneagram 3. And I'm like, how do you remember that? Like
that's like a personal obsession of mine.
Yeah.
So it's on my job application. What's your Enneagram? And if you don't know it, you have to take a test because I love knowing how people, just how their brains
function.
operate. Because I feel like it helps me know you better and helps me like love you and hold space for you, you know?
Yeah. And we happen to be the same.
Yeah.
We are a lot of the same person, which is fun. But I also love that because I feel like I send you like Instagram reels and like things that I see often that I'm like, you will get this. Of everyone in my life, you will understand this better than most.
100%. Or it's like, I will cry because, you know, the Enneagram 3 is the achiever. And so it's like, you can be like, oh, you're such a good mom. And I'm like, oh, yeah, thanks. And then people are like, you have such a beautiful business. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
I know.
Because I work so hard at it. So it's like so nice to be seen in that space. And I think it's always so funny for people to be like, you don't, like, I didn't cry when I got married. I didn't cry when my kids were born. But like, I will cry probably at least once a week about my business.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I feel that.
It is what it is, you know?
I feel that. So, okay, you guys travel a lot. You go to all of the places. Where do you love working?
I love going to like the nearby venues like Emerson or Cooper's because I know the setup. I've got a good working relationship with, you know, the management and the owners and stuff. And so that is always really, really easy. And I feel like I can move into the weddings with a lot of confidence for the brides of like, I know exactly what to do.
You know what the setup's going to look like. You're not walking into a hotel room trying to make enough space.
Yes. But it is fun to be a part of more like quirky, like backyard weddings and stuff too.
Where you're
I feel like
in their childhood home. And
those are really, really personal and fun. So those I feel like are more fulfilling. And the other ones are more like, I know what I'm doing and I can rock this. You know?
Yeah. Kind of helps you too with those venues that you know and you love to say, okay, I know I can do a bridal party of 12 people if I have to.
Yeah,
you know,
because you know the
homes.
space and it's comfortable. And I know you just need to trot out the door and that's that. It's not like, okay, and now you are going to get in a car and do all this stuff and, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk trends.
Okay.
What are we loving for bridal hair and makeup this year?
I love anything that has to do with sticking a pearl or something shiny in your head right now because I think that the styles are pretty like simplistic. So I like being able to kind of girl those up a little bit. And I really, really love the up high, like tasseled 90s style right now. I'm
Me too.
obsessed. And I feel like there's so many different combinations. It kind of looks good on everybody. So I'm loving, loving, loving that. And then as far as makeup goes, I really do like the clean girl, lighter makeup, but more of that full glam is coming back. And my soul is on fire for it.
I am living for a full glam. Yeah. I still don't like smoky eye, like a, you know, charcoal smoky eye.
Yeah.
But I love like a nude, like shiny, sparkly look.
Yeah, like a more soft eye, but then like a beat contour. You know what I mean? That's what I like. I'm like, I'll spend an hour on your face makeup and then let's quick do your eye. But I mean, I can do a detailed eye too. It's just not my favorite.
Yes. Like make me look as snatched as possible.
Yeah. But maybe like I was born this way because I don't have black all over my eyelids.
Yeah. That. I love that. I wish that the whole like up, like tousled, is that a word?
Yeah,
like,
that's what I say.
Was a thing when I was getting married because my hair, like this is just what it was back then. We talked about this morning at coffee, like how long have we been married? I think I've been married for 8 years. And the look then was just like still really tight.
Mine was too.
A bump and then like I don't even know what was happening back here.
Just a little bird's nest.
Yeah, like crazy. And I look at those pictures, I'm like, that is not me at all. If you know me in real life, I almost always have my hair on top of my head and or just like down going everywhere.
Me too. I like hair that like moves or look like it had moved.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I feel like that style is just enough of a formal look, but it's still casual. You still feel like yourself. That's why I want to have a vow renewal, to be completely honest. I'm like, I want to do my hair like that.
Yeah. I want to feel
do my
more like
makeup.
myself
Yeah.
instead of having a deep side part that's like matted
Did you have a
down.
big braid?
No.
That was in for a long time.
No, I didn't do that, which is a surprise because I did that in like my real life.
Oh,
but
yeah.
not for that. I told myself that wasn't fancy enough for my New Year's Eve wedding. So I just had,
I could see that.
and then just a huge bump.
Yeah, the bump was huge. Whenever I was in hair school, it was completely embarrassing because my hair was, this is not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Whenever I show you how high that was and everyone else's in there was, and then we would put this really like, it was sparkly or it would have feathers or whatever, like disgusting headband or accessory, and it's embarrassing.
I did the hair feathers a million times.
Those are coming back.
No, they're not. Get those out. We're not doing those. I can get down with some tinsel, though.
I think the tinsel is really fun, and since I have a 7-year-old, she's always wanting me to pop it in, and I'll pop it in my hair too. It's just fun.
I'm
It's not
37
permanent.
and I really like it.
I like glitter, so.
Yeah. You did hair tinsel for our Valentine's Day event, which was so fun. I got 2, and they stayed in my hair for 2 weeks.
Yeah, they stay in. They really do. I just don't really necessarily like the feeling of the bead on my scalp. That kind of irritates me. Like even just like with the permanent jewelry and stuff, it irritates me being gone for so long. It's probably like some kind of like thing I should dive deeper into.
Yeah, maybe. Neurodivergence a little bit. Who knows?
Right.
But yeah. Okay, so we love the updos. We love a snatched look. What are we over?
Like no one's going to like me for this, but I'm really over the down Hollywood glam waves, and here's why.
I'm kind of over it too.
They don't last unless you have like my hair or a lot of extensions, because I have naturally just like thick, coarse hair. A lot of extensions, and it takes a really long time. And that's fine. I'll spend the time on it, but it sucks to spend that much time on something and then you see the photos back and it doesn't look good. And I'm a hustler. Like I spent a lot of time and energy researching how to make this last, and it's the hair type every single time, or it's their haircut or whatever, and you just don't always have the ability to change that in that moment. So I'm pretty over that, and then I'm also really over the party pony, but because of the same situation.
How dare you?
It's fine if you have hair. If you do not, it just looks like a gym pony.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to, get some clip-ins, let's do it. Because I love that look. I think it's super glam and timeless, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime. Same with the Hollywood waves. So I think the message for everyone is invest in extensions.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I told you. So we went to this content date day together with our friend Marissa, like a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't even remember when it was. And I was like, Kaylee, this ponytail took me an hour and a half this morning.
To make it look not like you just went to the gym. Yeah. So I think it's a lot of work.
But it also was like, for what? Like
for a ponytail.
Like it was a ponytail that had like 3 curls in it by the end of it all.
Yeah. Because they just don't list. And they actually, our extension company just launched I don't want to say like a ponytail clip-in, because what you're envisioning isn't what it is.
Like Shein.
Yes. Think not that. Think very high end. And so I am really hoping somebody will order one of those this year.
I think it was when I was in high school or maybe early college. Okay, so I graduated high school in 2005, if that gives you any idea of how long that was ago. And the thing then was they made these, basically a ponytail that was just fake hair around it. And you would put your hair in a bun and then you would put that around it. So
okay, so that's exactly why I was hesitant to describe it that way, because I knew that's what everyone was going to picture. It's not that. It's cool. It looks like your real hair. It helps it fill in. It's great. Well, and it's not as uncomfortable on your head.
In 2005, I did think it looked like real hair, so I definitely rocked that for
In 2000, probably like 12, I decided that I was going to go to Sally's and get myself clip-in hair extensions.
I did that too.
Well, that was probably fine for the average person. I have a lot of hair, a lot of hair. And also, you can't just put in clip-ins and think they're going to look good. They have to be cut. They have to be colored. Your real hair has to be blended in. No. I just walked around with my mullet 24. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And I stopped wearing it, honestly, whenever my husband and I started dating, and he was like, girl, you got to stop. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And when I look back at pictures, I love him for telling me that.
I have a distinct photo in my mind from 2009 of myself with these Sally clip-ins.
They look like Johnny Depp, like dreadlocks.
I swear to you, they were like to my waist. Like they were so long. And then I have a huge flower headband, going across.
Oh, I loved the headband across.
And then I look like a Gerber baby because the flower is like this large on my head.
Yeah.
Why was that a thing?
I know. I wish we could like throw in clips of tragic things I used to do.
We will. Don't worry. Take note, production team. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And it's going to come back.
It all comes back.
It all comes back. I got rid of all of it, so
like
bummer for me.
The way that the 90s are so in right now is alarming.
Killing me. My 5th grade wardrobe would have been very handy at this point.
1,000,000%.
I went to a No Doubt concert in 5th grade.
Oh.
Okay, Gwen Stefani. 5th grade with my dad, and I wore...
Did they let you say the bad words?
Oh, yeah. My parents were super cool. And... That's a story for another day. I won't say it on this podcast, but I'll have to tell you. So what I wore were lime green short overalls. So cool. Wish I could have those.
Yeah.
With a really cool rainbow striped shirt underneath.
Yeah.
That was like that kind of crinkly material with like the ruffles. And then I had platform white sneakers on.
Love that.
I would have fit in at Mizzou.
No, 100%.
And not for a costume party, like real.
Yeah. Okay, so I also think that we are just in a really interesting, like, geographical location. Because I will have friends come to town from college, and we'll go downtown to grab a bite to eat or a drink or whatever, and they're like, this place is so weird. Like, the fashion is so weird, and it's because, like, we're surrounded by it. And, like, it's not just like, oh, yeah, there's a college. It's like, this town is a college town.
It's just college, yeah.
And... makes me feel a little bit better about feeling like I'm 80 years old when I'm actually only 32, but it's just like not everyone dresses like this, okay?
Last night I said to my husband, because we were in a dog training class and we were walking downtown, and part of the exercise is you take your dog into several bars. And I also had my toddler with me. So Augie, who is 3, and my dog and my husband and I went to Snappers. So that was our first stop. And I was like, oh, mommy used to do Jello shots here, Augie. And then I was walking past all the bars, and all the kids are like up at the windows because it's like a parade of dogs. And I looked at my husband and I said, yeah, there were probably 15 dogs. So we were a literal parade going downtown. And I looked at my husband in my Carhartt and my joggers, holding my 3-year-old's hand and my dog. And I was like, I have never felt so old in my life.
There's nothing that ages you like going downtown.
Passing
Truly.
Big 12.
Yeah,
I was just
it's not even called Big 12 anymore.
It's not even Big 12, but it is Big 12. And I was just like, I've never felt older in my life.
I know. I was pregnant whenever they closed down Quentin's.
Oh,
I'm like, should we just go? Should we just go? That was my bar. You could find me there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, probably through the week too. And I loved that bar. And I think I cried real tears when it closed. Like, I mean, I loved that place. That was the best
roof.
I know. And you could go whatever level. What's your vibe tonight? Because we've got 3 options. And it was just fun.
I know. That was a good bar. Whenever I came home from college, that's usually where we would go. Sorry, Taylor University. My college that I went to was in Indiana. Liam also went to this college. You could not drink there. Oh. But when you went home, you were under your parents' rules. So you could do whatever you wanted. And I sure did.
Okay.
My parents' rules were like, just come home at some point.
Okay.
It was just great.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to hair and makeup. So
that really took a turn.
Trends that are out. We went from extensions to bars. Like, where are we in this conversation?
We're in my brain. It's really fun here.
I know. Exactly. This is why we are friends. Okay. So we're over those trends. We love this like 90s deal going on. Where do you see things kind of like going? Like, we've talked trends, but like, what do you love that you want to do more of?
I kind of feel like the smaller wedding parties are coming in and they are, more intimate. I, again, am a details girly, so they just are doing more nicer details. Like the bridesmaids even will do, like I did a wedding recently where they made her a whole scrapbook and every single one of her bridesmaids wrote her a personal letter saying
That's
I
so
love
sweet.
this about our friendship. It was just so, so, so sweet. And I feel like I've been seeing a lot with the smaller that the weddings are getting. I feel like couples and their bridal parties are remembering what things are really about and the importance of it. And I love that. I'm a softie, so I love that.
If you could say who an uplifted bride is, what does that look like?
She is very detail oriented. She likes the finer side of life. She trusts that she's a good decision maker. So she knows that when she hires her vendor team is more than capable of handling it. She asks for their opinion, not that she doesn't have a brain, like she can have feedback and a conversation, but she knows she made a good decision in her vendors that she's invested in.
Yeah, I love that. So speaking of vendors, you're there before, as a planner, I'm there pretty dang early, but you're usually the one that's there very first thing in the morning. So you kind of see the day progress longer than some others. Why do you feel like it's important for your clients to have a wedding planner, to have experienced, seasoned professionals actually helping them versus, oh, my friend's a photographer?
Yeah, 100%. Because I'm not shaming anybody. We all have to get a start at some point.
Yeah.
And that's fair. But if you really want your day to run smoothly, you need to have a team of trusted professionals that know what they're doing because it's just not their first rodeo. Like I could make your bridal beauty timeline literally in my sleep. And I know that the day is going to flow well. And yeah, does it go exactly like that? No. But I know we can wrap it up and get you out the door and in your dress on time. And I always tell our brides, the reason I need to know your head count and I need to know what time you're putting on that dress is because then I know how much time to allot. And if we go behind, the entire day goes behind. We're the first vendor that you work with. So either you have to cut out something that you spent your time and money on, or you have to let your whole day run behind. And that's just you've invested so much time and so much money. And then with the planners specifically, that is a hill I will die on, that you need to have a wedding planner. And I actually used to be a little bit anti-wedding planner because I felt like they came in and they just bossed me around. But in hindsight, I was probably just the little girl that didn't know how to run her business and I needed to be bossed around, if I'm being completely honest with you. But the brides that we see that don't have wedding planners, they're not enjoying the day. They're on their phone. This person's texting them. This person's asking them this question. They're getting up multiple times to go find the box of boutonnieres that their aunt made yesterday, and it's a whole thing. And then guess what happens? Your hair and makeup runs behind because you're on your phone, because you have to get up and you have to do this. And it's just not a happy flowing day. I feel like every bride is deserving of that. And I feel like your planner is going to help you secure their preferred vendors. So everybody already works together as a team. And I think that is incredibly important.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that is, from a planner's perspective, it's number one, having hair and makeup all in one team really, really, really helps because that's just narrowing down how many people we have to communicate with and get on the same page and make sure that hair timeline matches up with makeup timeline, and if there's a discrepancy
and if you're over here and you're running behind, that's fine. You're my coworker, so they're going to tell you to move and I'm going to catch you up to speed so that we can get back on timeline. Or I'm going to be like, you know what, girl, I got to start doing her foundation and it is what it is because I'm super comfortable with you versus if I've never met this hairstylist or this makeup artist, it's not super comfortable to get into their space.
Right. Hey, sorry, do you mind, if I kind of come in here? Yeah, that I've seen that happen. Yeah, I would definitely say just having everything in a one-stop shop.
It's a huge benefit.
And having everyone play nicely together in the sandbox is really, really important because there have been weddings where I've shown up where the hair team hates the makeup team.
And I've been in those rooms and it's horrid. Like,
right. It's not fun for anyone, and you cannot fake that on the day when you're serving clients. It's next to
and my
impossible.
personality cannot handle that. I'm such an empath that I feel every single person in the room's energy. And so when they're not getting along, I can't stop talking. And then I'm like draining my energy, and I'm moving slower because I'm trying to be like, and we're all going to be BFFs, because I genuinely want everyone in my whole life to be BFFs.
Yes.
So it's very, very difficult for me to even manage the room with that much energy. And the bride's clearly feeling that.
Yeah.
Her mom and her grandma and her best friends are feeling that.
Right.
And that's not
Yeah.
what you envision for your big day, is to deal with your beauty team's crap.
For sure. For sure. I think the other thing, and I've run into this too, where, you know, someone doesn't care for me or our team, you know, who's there in the morning because our clients have booked someone else that wasn't on referral from us.
Yeah.
Or they worked with this person at so-and-so friend's wedding or whatever. And then when I walk into the room, it's like a totally different energy. And I try to be very upfront and honest with our clients of like, hey, I don't really think that she likes me that much.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I know I'm a lot of personality and not everyone likes me. I'm totally okay with that.
Right.
But just so you know, we could run into this. Let's stick within our list of people that we love, we know, we like, we trust.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads me into my next point of it allows us as planners to not have to micromanage.
Right.
Because I trust you. I know you're going to do your job. You're the best at your job. You can do your job without me managing you.
Yeah.
And the timeline.
And
all
you
the
kind of
things.
just know their personality, where I'm like, okay, does Ashley build wiggle room into the timeline, or did she not? And I don't want to know if there's wiggle room, to be completely honest with you, because I take every second that I am given.
Yeah.
But
yes, we do build wiggle room.
I think most people do. But then when you're working with a new planner, they don't always.
They don't know.
And it's 12:15 and I'm finishing up and they're like, 12:15, she's supposed to get into her dress. And it's like, I know it's been 12:15 for 30 seconds. Like there's no, you know what I mean?
Whereas here I come at 12:20. I'm like, guys, we ready? We good? We need some more time? Cool. Like everything works out fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do always build in that wiggle room because girls want touch-ups. The girls who got their hair done at 8 o'clock are not looking the same at 12:30.
I know. Those are always the worst. I don't know what gets into them. I think they are like,
they go feral and they eat a
what
bagel.
What are they doing?
And they're
they're always the ones that are hungover. Where I'm like, why did you put the party girl at the top of the? Because I'll say, do you have a preference? And most of the time they don't.
Right.
But I'm like, okay, if somebody's a morning person, let's put them on the top.
Yes.
Not somebody that's going to come back and be like, I accidentally took a nap on the couch. Can you fix this? And
my
that
eyelashes
happens.
are smashed.
Yeah. Or they'll lie. They'll be like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, well, I do. It's called a nap. You took a little siesta. It's fine. I'm going to fix it for you, but can you please be honest?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. So we actually had coffee this morning and you said that you were doing great with your bookings for this year, but the few openings that you would consider, you basically want them to work with the planner.
Correct.
And that's because why?
Well, if you're not booked for the year yet, you're probably kind of coming in at the last minute, and that tells me maybe you don't have a lot of details figured out, or maybe you do have details figured out. Like we've had people book at the last second that are like, I have just put this off because I have massive anxiety about my hair. And so that doesn't always, that's fine. You can have that anxiety, but when you're coming in blind, you didn't get the referral directly from the planner. You don't even know if you like me or if you trust me yet. You're based off of what my Instagram is. And newsflash, everyone's perfect on social media. So
Always.
You don't know if that's even going to work for you, but it's a lot of last minute needing to manage details. And if I know that you're already have this ready to roll with a planner, I can step into it a lot easier and not be pulled in 35 million directions and not be able to serve you to the best of my ability, but also not take away from the other brides that we already have ready to roll.
Yeah, that's probably smart. Just the last minute details are sometimes overwhelming.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you find that obviously you're making a hair and makeup timeline, but so then you're essentially taking on the planner role for the first half of the day. And then they're mixing that with the photography timeline. Who's then mixing that with the DJ timeline.
Correct.
So your hair girl, your hair and makeup girl, your photographer, and your DJ are your planners.
And I think that that's what people are like, oh, they provide the timeline, or whatever. And yes, but that vendor is going to provide the timeline for their scope of work, and it's not going to overlap. If you told me 12:30 to be in your dress, but your photographer said 12 and you're like noonish.
Yeah.
That's 30 minutes.
Right. And that's a lot of time.
And wedding days, yes.
That's a full hairdo.
Yeah, that I could do a whole updo in that time frame, you know?
Yeah.
And then those moments just never feel good when the photographer walks in and it becomes very obvious that you all do not have the same schedule.
Right.
Like they are cranky. And a lot of times it's people that I don't know, because if it was somebody that I knew, I will always check timelines with other vendors if they didn't have a planner.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, not a good feeling. The panic arises. Things start getting rushed.
Right. Well, and I think, too, what a lot of clients don't understand is, yes, we are there for you. We're also there for our fellow vendors, because I don't know about you, but my number one referral source
Is a vendor.
is not my client. My number one referral source are my vendor friends.
Yes.
And so I am there to impress and please them just as much, maybe not just as much as my clients, but a lot.
Yeah, totally.
And so that's an uncomfortable situation when a photographer walks in and you're 30 minutes behind, but you don't know.
And you don't know. And what are they going to do? Tell you in front of the client?
Right.
No.
And
It's
they're not
just
going to
like
go
this
tell
look.
their future clients of, oh, I love working with Kaylee because she's always on time.
Yeah, because they thought I was behind. Actually, there's another photographer here in town that was our first meeting and now she's a good friend. But I reached out to her afterwards and was like, I just want to let you know, I don't think that we had the same timeline. There wasn't a planner involved. That's not my normal style. And then we ended up having, we have a really beautiful friendship out of it now, but that's not always the norm either. I'm just confident enough to be like, my bad, you know?
Right. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I try to always go back. If something was to happen, I try to always go back and be like, hey, this was not normal. This was not a normal day. I know we haven't worked together, but.
Yeah. And it happens.
Yeah.
I always feel like there's always one wedding. And I can usually predict which one it's going to be.
Yeah.
But sometimes it surprises you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, okay. I want to wrap it up. But one of my last questions that I always ask everybody is, if you were not doing hair and makeup, if you were not a salon owner, not in this industry at all, what would you want to be doing?
I would want to, I love this question.
This is a fast answer.
Because I already know it.
Okay, I love it.
It's like my daydream, like my fever dream that'll never happen,
Okay.
you know? So I want to, I don't know what the name of the business is called, but it uses the word edit to where I go in and I just edit your business, because I love, 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 love details. So like if you're a restaurant, maybe I'll just come in kind of like a secret shopper, but an elevated secret shopper. Well, I'll be like, okay, you know, Nan was really great and she smiled at me and she made a personalized recommendation based off of what I told her. And also, I don't think the music is your vibe, or I don't like how these menus are laminated, or my menu was dirty, or just whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not industry specific. It's just any business.
I love that.
I
always say I love to get paid for my opinion.
Me too. And I love things that are like a vibey experience. And I think Columbia needs more of that. I think we're getting a lot more of it, and that makes my heart so happy. But I feel like I could take it to the top if I had 40 more hours in the week.
Yeah, I know. I feel like that too. I need more time and more money to
like live out your wildest dreams.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get to do a lot of cool things together. I feel like our friendship could be a very expensive one.
Yeah. I'm
because
a bougie,
we like really
bougie
nice
babe.
bougie things. But I think that was great.
Yeah. I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, me neither. Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast. You were a wealth of information. I love working with your team, and I'm really excited to do more of it this year.
Yeah.
You
Thank
guys
you
are our
for having
go-tos.
us, or having me.
Yeah. Us. We're multiple peoples.
I told you it's fun up here.
I love it. Okay. Well, thank you again. Appreciate you always.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's Pearls of Wisdom podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Miner with Delight Events. As always, you can find us all over the internet by following us on Instagram at Delight Events Mo and on Facebook. And please consider leaving us a review here for the podcast. Subscribe if you're on YouTube or on Spotify. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.